Hi guys, I'm Sam from the Unity of Life and welcome back to my channel. And if you've been following my videos, then that is awesome and that is absolutely great and I absolutely appreciate that. So thank you very much. So today we're looking at Drive to Survive episode 9. This is the episode on which Grosjean's horrendous crash that he did walk away from. He was a very lucky man. Is featured in, so we're going to explore a little bit about that, and we're going to be talking about Perez as well. So just a little bit of recap of what's going on. This racing season was obviously delayed because we are now in season 3, and this was all recorded and took place during 2020, a year we all wish never happened, that we could do over and do differently so that we wouldn't all have been in lockdown. However, the racing season did start back up again in July, and it didn't end until about December, where usually it would start in March and it would end in around about November. But because of the delays, because of COVID and all the changes and regulations that had occurred, that wasn't the case, and it took, obviously they started later, so they finished later too. So we are now, like I said, we are now on episode 9. We're almost finished with this series and the whole Drive to Survive. At the moment, there is apparently, that as far as I'm aware, there is going to be a season 4, which we will discuss once it is out. So Grosjean said it would be hard for him to find a seat for 2021 because Haas had decided that they were going to get rid of both their drivers and replace them with 2 completely new, fresh-faced people or drivers, and they specifically wanted a German driver because they had German sponsors, and luck would just so have it that Mick Schumacher was looking to come up from Formula 2 into Formula 1, and who is going to, he was the best candidate. He wasn't going to be beaten in the eyes of Haas because obviously he is the son of legendary Michael Schumacher, and he is also German, so he thought he was going to be a great match. They hit the jackpot there because they got the best driver that they could possibly want to impress their sponsors, because sponsors obviously bring in the money. So if they keep them happy, then they can potentially actually have a lot of money to make a really good car that's actually worth competing in. Because let's not forget, 2020 wasn't a very good year for them, but they didn't have a really good season. So both drivers were left without a seat, and they said it was going to be really hard to find a seat for the next season because they left it so late to make this decision. Haas did. And it was both drivers were going to struggle, and both drivers did not come back for the racing season of 2021. So obviously, like I said, we all know what happened to Paul Grosjean in Bangkok? I'm not really good at that pronouncing names, but anyway, in 2020. So not only that, so Perez actually found himself without a team in 2020. I think that was the end. He was racing in 2020, but I think he found out that he wasn't. Yeah, he found that he wasn't going to have a seat because he was racing point at this point in time. However, they were going into business with Aston Martin. And Sebastian Vettel had signed up from Aston Martin, and Racing Point was a team that was owned by Lance Stroll's father, Lawrence Stroll, so he isn't going to be getting rid of his son. So because he owns the team, his son obviously always has a seat in Formula 1 as long as daddy's around to make sure that happens. So Alex Albon, he brought his car off in a practice session. So he actually drove for Red Bull. he's the one that they decided to replace Pierre Gasly with in the last 9 seasons of 2019. So obviously Red Bull weren't happy with this, and as we now know, Alex didn't make it into the 2021 racing season because Red Bull decided to get rid of Alex and replace him with Sergio Perez. But Alex is still working for Red Bull. He's just as a reserve driver rather than one of the actual drivers. So Grosjean, he crashed in the very first lap of this Beret, I think it's pronounced, Grand Prix. I'm getting that mixed up with another. Let me know in the comments. And basically he crashed through the barrier, and his car was ripped into two and it burst into flames, and you can see this horrendous crash on YouTube. So I myself, I'm not really a huge fan of Formula One. I do follow it. And my stepdad, he watches it, he's a huge fan of it, and I always get a text. My phone does not shut up cover Sunday when it's race day, because I'm getting notified that, because he's a huge Lewis Hamilton fan. I think we all are in this household, because he's British, we're British, we're just biased. Anyway, yeah, so I'm always getting updates of how well Lewis is doing and if someone's crashed or whatever. And I can remember he called me and my mum up the stairs. He was actually crafty because he called me up first and explained that there'd been this crash and the car was ripped in two and it was on fire. And I was like, oh my God, what the hell? And the first thing that was going through my head was, oh my God, did that driver even survive? My stepdad assured me that he did, that he got up and walked away, no problem. And he played it for me to see, and it took an awful long time for Grosjean to actually get out of the car because he was trapped. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, oh my God, have I just been lied to? My stepdad just lied to me, and this driver obviously hasn't gotten out of this car. It's like we were all holding our breath, and then when he did get out the car, oh my God, when that release of breath to know that he's fine, that he survived, and he went off to hospital, and all he had was just a few burns, and that was it. It was just astonishing. He's a really lucky man to still be alive. And then obviously my stepdad, he called my mum up so my mum could watch it as well, and we were just horrific. We were horrified. And I was then going on social media and on the internet to find out how Grosjean was doing, because I was so concerned. And then I found out a little bit more about him. So he has a wife and he has children, and that just made it all worse because I didn't know that at the time of his crash. Obviously I knew he was somebody's son, and if he did die, then that would have been absolutely horrific for his parents. But to find out that he potentially could have left, I think he's got 3 children, that he could have left some children without a father, it's just absolutely horrific. And it's so not worth thinking about what could have happened. Like I said, he is so extremely lucky that he was able to walk away from that alive. Because a couple of years ago, if that had happened, I don't think he would have been able to survive something as horrific as that. So of course, there's a red flag. The race was stopped. It had to be restarted. And it was absolutely difficult for everybody to watch, and it absolutely shook every single driver and all the teams up as well, because that reality obviously hit those drivers of, oh my God, what I'm doing is so dangerous that could have actually been me in that situation. So Grosjean actually insisted that he was going to walk to the ambulance. He wasn't going to go on a stretcher or a wheelchair or anything like that. He was going to walk. And he like I said, he was very lucky just to come away with some burns. So the race continued, and Lance also crashed. However, his crash was nowhere near as horrific as Paul Grosjean's. And Perez had to retire the car as it was on fire. So his car ended up being on fire, but again, it wasn't as bad as Grosjean's. It just seemed to be a very unlucky day, a very unfortunate race, because there was obviously three crashes. Well, 2 crashes in a car that spontaneously went on fire without crashing. It obviously wasn't a very good race for the drivers anyway. So Alex came third and Max was second in this particular race. And after the crashes, Grosjean decided it was for the best to retire because he didn't want to put his friends and his family through that horrific incident again, because obviously at that time period they obviously didn't know if he was alive or if he was dead, and there was no way for him to contact anybody to say that he actually was alive, and he was struggling to get out the car because he was trapped. And he didn't think it was fair to be putting them through that. Again, however, that's not really where his career ended, because Mercedes said that he could do some sort of driving for them in one of their cars, because he's always wanted to drive for Mercedes. That still hasn't happened in 2021 because of the coronavirus, but they're still going to try and work something out for him. So we moved on from that, and Perez won his very first race, and so it was this he won, and his teammate Lance was third in one particular race, and he actually came from being last to finishing first, and I think that's maybe the turning point on which Red Bull decided that they would take a chance on Sergio Perez and get rid of Alex. Why they were getting rid of Alex, I don't know, because Alex did seem to do pretty well. So why they decided to replace him with a driver that's a bit more experienced but had only won one race is beyond me, but it seems to be working out for them. So if you've enjoyed this content and in this video and you have not yet subscribed, then you can subscribe. You click on my face, and if you click that notification bell, you will be notified every Wednesday and Saturday when I upload a video. And if you want to have a look at any of the other Formula 1 content that I have put on my channel, then if you click down here, you can explore all that. Don't forget to comment and share this video as well with all your friends and your family. And you can comment up if you watched Grosjean's crash and what your thoughts were and what was going through your mind and all the emotions that were running through you, because it was absolutely horrific and it was definitely an emotional roller coaster. And I will see you in the next video. Try to be nice to each other and be respectful. We are all a community. Nobody's better than anybody else here. And like I said, I will see you all lovely lot in the very next video when we look at the very last episode that we have on Drive to Survive. Bye for now.